Sunday issue. And when you see this one, it will be a response to your question, because why would you, for example, use the alternative origin and destination? And I will show one example of why this would be used.
Okay, thank you.
Super, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so once again, good afternoon to everybody. First, I would like to apologize if my voice cracks a little bit. It is just this time of the year. I hope everybody else is healthy, and I hope you are going to spend a lovely day in the afternoon later. I would like to start with just a little summarization of the first two sessions that we had. We started yesterday with the beginner session where we showed you the basic parts of PCS and what can be done in which tab, and how the basic dossier, that is how we call it, a tailor-made or manually created, can be done. Then yesterday in the afternoon and today in the morning, we played a little bit with PUBs. So the prearranged paths that are already published by the corridors can then be used by you in creation of the dossier, so you don't have to do anything from start. How this whole procedure actually goes is that corridors publish their catalogs online, and if you see the pub that actually serves your purpose and business need, then you can order it via PCS. The most easy way is to remember or write down the pub ID from the catalog and then search for it in the pub search. So this is something that we showed on the previous sessions. Now we are going to also show you a little bit of how to deal with PCS in some use cases that are not as easy, or where you need to resolve some issues. And this is how we are going to begin today's advanced session. This part of the advanced session can also be done, of course, with the pub business in mind. But on top of that, this is the usual PCS behavior. So if you as cargo applicants will have the need to do any manual construction of the dossier, those resolving tips will actually help you also, not only by using the pubs. So I pasted in the chat how we are going to start this, and where I will show the examples that I have prepared, and we are going to see how to resolve if the PCS is warning you about a negative border time. On top of that, I will also show you what are the blocking points for the applicants and what are not. Then we are going to proceed with the first Sunday issue, and I will explain to you what does it mean, and why is there a first Sunday issue, and how to resolve it. And also we need to just touch upon the acceptance of the general terms and conditions that is really related to ordering the pubs. Then we have the resolution of a so-called TSI variant issue. And this is something that you will most probably encounter if you create a dossier with multiple origins and destination in the same dossier. So we would like to show you how you can resolve this issue. Then we mentioned on the beginner session and also on the intermediate that applicants can be RUs and non-RUs. So those applicants who are not RUs, so they do not own the train, but are in charge of requesting a path from the IMs, they actually have the possibility to say who will run the train and who will do this part of business for them. We will shortly just show you how to assign the corresponding RU technically. Of course, the business needs of who is applicant and who is RU is going to stay in your hands. Then we have a specific algorithm in PCS that is just calculating the values of the time. And PCS has an issue if there is longer than 12 hours wait. So we are going to show you how to resolve that issue in order to really create the dossiers and requests that fit your business need. And then we are going to conclude by bringing the dossier into the path elaboration, the part where IMs are then responding to your offers and after the corridors have done their part of business. And we are just going to show what an IM can do with removing the capacity of the PUP and so on, how they can respond to your request. So this is going to be the part that we are going to cover today. We are going to start with this negative border time issue, and I will allow some time for you to copy all of the dossiers if you wish to follow along, or if you just want to listen, that is also completely okay. For those who want to copy it and follow along, please log into test one with the DBSCH, so DB Cargo Schweiz, because we are going to use and resolve the issues with this account. So let me do the same. And there is one trick that I will do. In one tab of the dossier, I will be logged in with another account, and on the another tab in incognito mode, I will be logged in with what I just told you, DBSCH. So this is my first step. And in the quick search, I will search for my initials, Ivana Haban, and advanced. We here have a couple of dossiers that are already prepared for this session. And since we are going to start with the negative border time, you can either search for the number 256363 or the one that has a negative border time in the name. So let's see which one that is. So advanced, inconsistency, and negative border time. Once again, the dossier ID is 256363. If you would like to do it yourself alongside of me, please copy the dossier, include the calendar, and put something else in the name, for example, your additional name or something like this. I will cancel that one. And we can see what we have here in the dossier. If I go to the control, I can see that we are already in harmonization. I am not the leading applicant. My colleagues from DB Cargo Deutschland in German territory are the leading ones. However, I see a couple of issues here because I am not going to be able to accept it and put the light on green before I complete all the missing data in order to accept the dossier. So one blocking point for this one is that my calendar is inconsistent. So I need to synchronize my calendar with the previous territory. my first thing is that in the applicant timetable, I will see the issue on the second territory. It might also be, and I would like to highlight that the edit needs to be done on the first territory. However, PCS is always calculating everything from top to bottom, and that's why it says that on the second territory there needs to be a change. So this depends on your agreement with your partners. So in case, of course, we can see here that the request for the SBB on the Switzerland's territory was from Mondays and Tuesdays, while on the first one, only Mondays. And that one can be really resolved in the bilateral communication. You can agree who needs to edit their calendar. Now, since we are logged in with this DB Cargo Switzerland, we are going to go into the territory calendar and resolve this issue on the second territory. First, you will see here on the first territory, only Mondays are marked. And on the second territory, the Tuesdays are also marked. We are going to remove the Tuesdays. And now, first of all, you are already see that there are no yellow warnings, that it is not covered in the previous territory, and already now you can see that you resolved an issue. I would like to point out that this is what happens sometimes. You don't need to do this one, but I have put here the 19th of April. It's just one day. And this is the most common issue, that you will encounter, is that you just overlooked one day. So it is kind of really easy to see what is highlighted and what needs to be corrected. So as soon as you don't have yellow issues, no problem. So now when I save this corrected part, I no longer have any yellow days. Then if I go back to control, I should see that that the red warning is gone. The red warning or blocking point is something that will block you from sending a path request. Of course, since I am here not a leading applicant, I cannot send a path request. My colleague needs to do that. So this is just a reminder. But here, even though I still have some kind of warnings, I can place my light on green, and PCS will no longer have an issue of saying, okay, DB Cargo Schweiz is done and you can continue. This just goes into saying that even though there are some warnings that we would like you to correct, you don't have to do that. However, we advise you to also always resolve all the warnings. So I will do that right away, and I will put my light back to yellow. And I will go back into the applicant timetable to find what is this. It says that there is a negative border time in path variant. So already here the instruction in the warning is telling me where to go next. Applicant timetable, path variant. Let's just first see what is happening in the main territories. We are leaving Mannheim at 10. Then there is a run-through on Basel-Bad on the German side and the Switzerland side, but the times are the following. 12:20 for the arrival, 12:30 for the departure, 12:20 for the arrival, and 12:30 for the departure. There will be sometimes these kinds of markings at the end. So where is this? At the end location of the first territory and the first location of the second territory. The times are just repeated, and since it is a run through, you would expect, okay, but it is actually correct. And from the business point of view, that might be true. It might be true that even though the arrival and departures are correctly here just repeated, maybe it's fine and you can proceed. And that's exactly the reason why this warning is just a warning and you can proceed if your IMs expect this kind of a construction of the timetable. And we are not going to stop you from there. But now let's go and see what is PCS highlighting to us. In the path variance, you will see that PCS is also telling you the path variance are consistent. However, the negative border time exists. And PCS will tell you exactly what these negative border times for PCS means. We told you that path variance and path variance calendar is something that PCS is automatically calculating. So the input for your request is in the territories and territories calendar, while the path variance is just a helpful tool from PCS to visualize the full structure of your dossier. And here PCS is having a problem because PCS is reading in sequence. So if we have arrival at 12:20 and departure at 12:30, the arrival to the next location is for them, for PCS, 12:20. And since PCS is interpreting, he figures out actually that this is no longer the same day. It must be the second day because we cannot run back in time. And PCS has an issue in calculation. This issue is reflected in the calendar of the automatic construction. And if you click on the little calendar icon of the previous territory Basel-Bad, you can see that the running day is Monday. And this is exactly how you wanted to have it. However, if you click on the Basel-Bad Bahnhof in the Switzerland part, the calendar is shifted to Tuesday. Let's just briefly compare it to what PCS is telling you and what you ordered. The order is Mondays on the Switzerland territory too. So don't be confused. PCS is not going to force a wrong request. However, PCS is telling you that based on its own calculation, this must be the second day. And now how to resolve this issue? We are going to remove the arrival and departure dates so that only the departures will match. And let's do that. Sorry. In the applicant part, let's now do again what I just did. So in the second territory, I removed the arrival of 12:20 completely from the first location of this territory. So I left it empty and I saved it. Okay, now no changes are made, of course, but with this save, there is no longer a warning. And again, I can easily accept my part. Is there any question or do you want me to redo the exercise perhaps? Okay. Then once again, we would like to remind you that if there is a run-through between two countries, we would advise you to only use the departure times on the first and the second territories. And with that, you will never make a mistake in the incorrect construction of the timetable. Okay. Then we have one example with the first Sunday issue. And this is where I will also explain the information about the alternative origin and destination. I'll just see. For the noise. I will use the same account, so the same applicant who is a DB Cargo Switzerland with the same login. So if you want to follow, and I will open the dossier number 256146. Let's do that. So 256146. The quickest way to do that is in the quick search. And I have here the information about the general terms and conditions acceptance and the first Sunday issue. And I will open this dossier. I will again allow you time if you want to copy this dossier. Again, include the calendar and put additionally here something as your own name or initials and save it with a copy. Let's analyze what we have in this example. If I go to the control, I will see here that this is a dossier that is constructed from Belgium across Germany and into the Switzerland. We are using the capacity of rail freight corridor number 1 in the first and the second territory, and in the third territory we are using the capacity of the rail freight corridor 2. So that's the difference now. And there are blocking points who are going to stop us from accepting this. So we need to resolve them. There are two things. One is that there is a missing acceptance of the North Sea Mediterranean general terms and conditions. And the second one is the calendar is inconsistent. I would like to first address the first one. And this is the missing acceptance of the North Sea Mediterranean general terms and conditions. So since we are here using the capacity of 2 corridors, the second one we still didn't accept. Here in the administration, you can have always the overview of what you have or have not accepted. Now, of course, since we are all using the same one, there is already acceptance that was done with by one of you here on the training. But this is where you will need to click here that you accept this general terms and conditions. I will again go into my dossier just to show you this. So clicking on the calendar or on the pencil here will lead you directly to the acceptance. And it will be like this, empty. So the corridor 1 will be accepted. The corridor 2 will not be accepted. And you need to click on I accept. And this will then be this legal part that you can actually use the PUBs that you found in PCS, and you can proceed with at least this issue. Now, if I go to the control, of course, there is only one more thing to correct before I can accept this part for the DB Cargo Schweiz, and it is calendar inconsistency. Before I move on, just so I can see who is actually here on our training, I would like to start one question, and that is if you can answer, do you have to accept these general terms and conditions for every dossier that you create? And there are two options. Yes, each dossier contains individual path requests, so the general terms and conditions have to be accepted every time. Or the answer is no, it is enough to do it once per year. Submit your answer in the Teams, and then we are going to view the results together. There are 7 responses, already 9, and actually all of you, most of you, okay, responded that it is enough to do it per year, and you responded correctly. So once you do it in each timetable period, you don't have to redo it for those corridors that you have actually already ordered from. You can also see that there is a drop down for the timetable period, and you can see for the previous timetable period, of course, in the online system, what were the corridors that you ordered from. This means as soon as you add this pub to your dossier, regardless does this dossier stay in the open phase, in harmonization phase, or you actually proceed with this request at the end and place a path request on time, this acceptance of the general terms and conditions will already be in place. I will go back to this dossier that I have created because if we remember, there is one more thing we need to resolve. So I need to resolve the calendar inconsistency. Let's see what the issue is. And let's analyze what we have here and what is the example that I have created. So we are starting in Belgium at 6 o'clock on Monday. And the request is from Monday to Friday with the fixed PUP on Infrabel territory. Then there is a border section on Monsen and Aachen that is going into the Dibinets territory with the flexible PUP. You can see the difference in colors again on the same days. Monday, still the same day. And here is where I have created a little bit of a difference. So I said that those are Mondays, but in Oberhausen, that's already Tuesday. And we are traveling through Germany. And let's say that we are then already at the end of Tuesday at 20 o'clock in Basel. In the Switzerland territory, we have a midnight crossing. It means that from here to here, there is 1 day difference. So since that is already Tuesday, that is already Wednesday. So let's see then how the example looks like for the Switzerland part. In Switzerland, we are ordering from Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So 5 days, but shifted for 2 days. But we did some mistake, and the first thing and how I am going to check the inconsistency is going into the path variance. This is my helper here that I get from the PCS, and I see that Mondays to Wednesdays are correctly created. So from Monday through Germany into the Switzerland, all good. From Thursdays to Fridays, again, no issue. The PCS could connect my business case. So from Thursday, still Thursday, then we have +1, that is Friday, and then ending on the Saturday. But Sunday was not matched to anything. So there is an inconsistent border or alternative origin or destination. This is kind of PCS hint of what he recognized. So let's see what this is. This is the subpath number 2 in the third territory. You can recognize it by the colors and by the number. Now I can go back to my request that is in the tab territories. And now I can see what is happening on the calendar part. You can see it already here, but not really that easily, that on the first Sunday of the timetable period, there is a little yellow box. Let's make it a little bit bigger while going into the territories calendar. So first territory, all good. Second, all good. The territory number 3, but the subpath 2 is where PCS has an issue. And here is the issue. That's the issue that we call the first Sunday issue. Let's analyze what happened. If there is a train that we said that would run from Monday to Friday, and the first running day is 11th of December 2023, then actually nothing is running on the 10th of December. So there are no incoming trains before that. However, your business need might be that you want to fulfill all of the running days and you want to order all of the running days. Then you will need to resolve this first Sunday issue. So let's go back to where it is, second subpath of the third territory. And here, this one was of course selected because we wanted to select all of the Sundays. But PCS doesn't know what is coming from the previous territory. There are two solutions. One is that actually you don't have any business needs to run on this day, and then it's easy. You deselect it and you save it. If we go into the control, there is no more blocking points and you can put your lights to green. I will now go back and not do that. I will go back and reproduce the same error again. So I will return to the territories calendar and into the last territory and the second subpath, and I will put it back in because actually I want to run my train on all the days of the calendar, and this is also my order for the SBB infrastructure. I want to order this tent because from the previous timetable period, in this case the timetable period 2023, I already have a request that will bring some train to the border of the Switzerland here on the 11th on the 9th of December. So I do have the need to continue from the previous timetable period. And how I will resolve this one, first I will cancel that one. I will say, yes, on the last day of the timetable period, I need a standalone request. How to do the standalone request? I will copy from this Saturdays and Sundays. I will copy a subpath, or in case you would have pups here, you would copy a subpath with a pup. And you would choose in the calendar only this one day that is problematic. So we are going to put this one date with the saving of this into the third subpath. Still, we didn't resolve anything, but this is where now the selection of the alternative origin comes into picture. And what I will do is that for the third subpath, I will go into the editing of the timetable and I will plug in here the alternative origin option. As soon as you see that it is blue, it means that is selected. If I save this one, we are going to resolve an issue. Let's now analyze what we have in the path variance. We have one origin to destination from Belgium into the Switzerland, second request again, and the third request is only from the border point of the Switzerland into the Switzerland, because we know that from the previous year we have some business needs and the train is already waiting in the Basel station, the previous territory of the German part, in order to enter Switzerland. And that is one of the use case how you would use this alternative origin. Because now PCS says, okay, there are almost all running days where I start in Belgium, but there is also one running day when I start only in Switzerland. This is one use case of the alternative origin. I will now ask you if you have any questions that I would like to, you like me to clarify on this information.
Well, actually, you answered my questions perfectly. So thank you.
Okay, glad to hear that. Also, alternative destination is if you would have the need, for example, to stop on some days in Germany. So let's say that you have the train running all running days of the calendar, so from Monday to Sunday, from Belgium to Germany and into Switzerland, but you want to, on Sundays, stop in the middle of Germany because of some TCR. This is where you would divide this 1 to 5 in Germany into two subpaths and say, okay, here on Sundays, I would not go further into Switzerland, but I will stop in, let's say, Oberhausen and not continue my train run. This is where you would then have the opportunity to place the alternative destination. Okay, now we also resolve this first Sunday issue. Now I will show you one more thing that is having something to do with the TAFTAP TSI and this example when you would have something else as the destination on some times. You can open here the dossier under number 256417, again with the same user account. So 256417. And here it is, the example of the advanced TSI variant.
Ivana?
Yes.
Excuse me, could you remind me what TSI means, please?
I will explain it right away to everybody because that is the essence of this example. So now everybody will find out. TSI is one part of the TAFTAP TSI standard. So in PCS, we have some information that is related to the TAFTAP TSI. Here you will see on the top of each subpath that this subpath has the TAFTAP TSI variant ID 00. Whenever you change an origin or destination, this variant in the TAF TSI changes. It means that actually, even though you consider it to be the same train, those are two variants of each train. And now we are going to create this discrepancy, because let's say that even though we have here two subpaths that end up in Basel, let's say that on Saturday we want to add a new path section that is going further to Bern. And I will choose this one of those. And let's say that we arrive to Bern at 23 o'clock. For the location type, I will now say that this is a destination, and I will save it. Now I get this information that I have assigned an incorrect TAF TSI ID. Let's analyze it a little bit. I have said that one variant of the train changes if you change origin or destination. So now we already have the existing 00, but we would like to change here something else. So you can see already PCS is giving you an overview of one variant being until Basel-Bad and the second one being until Bern. So PCS has an issue of this being under the same number. How to resolve this is, first of all, you need to remove this red warning and delete this completely. So leave the TSI variant empty. Now, when I want to save this Bern location, okay, yes. This is the example that we are working on the same one. It is actually my fault because I didn't tell you to copy it into something else at the beginning of this one. But regardless, this is exactly what we wanted to achieve. So let's go into the current version of this dossier and let's see what we now have. From the origin until two different destinations. One is until Basel-Bad and the other one is until Bern. And let's analyze the TAF TSI variants information. So the same origin in the first territory, the same variant in the second, and in this second subpath, this TAF TSI 01. And the reason why this is 01 is that PCS is recognized that there are now two 00 and 01. Sorry, I will go into non-incognito. So this is where this telematics joint sector group are working, and this is where this TAF TSI standard comes from. And PCS has to respect some of the values, some of the identifiers of this standard, and therefore we added some of the information in the PCS that needs to be resolved from time to time. I hope that also answers the question, what is TSI? Good. Then let's continue with our use cases for the online training. Now we have this information about assigning the RU as non-RU applicant. We are actually going to stay maybe even in this same dossier, because it is actually, let's switch to the one that we prepared. It will be a little bit more work for you, but nevertheless, we are still with the DB Cargo Switzerland, and we are going to open the dossiers 256185. So let's do this one. And we have this example that is RU and path elaboration. We are going to continue working on this dossier. That is why I'm now going to allow you time again to copy this dossier into another one. So again, include the calendar, put here your initials, and create a copy from the dossier 256185. I will actually do the same. Because you will see here that we are now the leading applicant, but in the open phase. We need to release the harmonization in order to get to this assigning of the RUs. Let's compare. Here you have only 3 icons. If I release the harmonization, I will go here into the applicant timetable, and on my own territory, I will have the 4th icon. The icon is saying RU, responsible applicant, responsible RU. Let's imagine that this is an applicant that does not have the RU possibilities. So there is no ownership of the trains, and it is just a non-RU applicant. Or it might be that in some cases there is a need to assign this work to another partner. In that case, when I click the RU, I will have the possibility to select the responsible RU that will run this part of the train of my business for me. I will assign BLS cargo, even though from business's point of view, I know this will not happen with BLS cargo. And there is a possibility to transfer, edit, access in the path modification. What this means is that after the allocation, this BLS cargo will be in charge of actually creating the path modification in the name of the original applicant. We will leave this empty for now because we are not going to go that far, but in case there is a business need for such a transfer of the rights in the path modification, don't forget to click the checkbox here. If I save it now, let's see what we see on the screen. Still, the original applicant and the original IM are in the pair. It also means that the contract will be signed between this original applicant and this IM, not with the RU that is assigned here. But some contracts between these two partners will have to be assigned outside of the PCS. This also means that this new RU needs to accept the appointment that was put to him. Here you can see that appointment is still pending. Now you will not, if you want, you can follow along, but I will log out from the DB Cargo Switzerland and I will log in with the BLS Cargo. So BLS-C and the same password that we had for everybody else. And I will allow you a little bit of time to actually see that.
Well, actually, I decided to follow your screen. It's much more easier without two
Okay.
screens. So
Good. Then I will open this that is mine. And I can see some of you are also working on it, so I will still go into the same tempo. And in the applicant timetable, I now, as an assigned applicant, need to accept this assignment. So if I click on this subpath that I am assigned to, I have here the accept or reject. Once I accept this, please confirm, yes, I become the responsible for this subpath. And you can see here, it is no longer letter I as an information, but the green checkbox saying that the appointment request was accepted. The appointment request was accepted. Additionally, you can see that the comment is placed on the comment area. And it is automatically done saying that the responsible RU appointment in this dossier for this subpath has been accepted by BLS Cargo. I will go back to being the DB Cargo Switzerland. And in this same one, I can see also the appointment is done. I would like to highlight that this appointment is happening on the subpath level. What it means is that if I wish to now create a new subpath for only Wednesdays, I will have it without the appointment of this BLS Cargo. So if I want him to run, I will have it directly with the appointment of this BLS Cargo. But if I want this to be run by somebody else, then I need to remove it. And again, how to remove it is by clicking on the RU button. Now you have two different options here. One is that was already accepted, and one is the one that we already now created but not accepted yet. And good that is not accepted, because we are going to click on the drop down and on the empty space and save this one. And what we now have is that there is a specific RU assigned on the first territory, but not on the second. This is just one of the possibilities in PCS to say who will run your business, and it is mostly relevant for the applicants who are not RUs. For example, Sibylit is using this function really almost all the time to assign the RU who will run the train, while the Sibylit is then part of the pairs and signing the contracts for the paths for with the IAMs. Now that we have done that one, in this same dossier, and if you have copied into the further use cases, we are going to just repeat a little bit of the information that is part of the intermediate session, and this is just to add this PUP to the dossier, because I would like to proceed into the path elaboration with the capacity of the path of the PUP. So first of all, we have here Basel until Luino, and I will add here a path that is exactly from Basel to Luino, and I need it to run on Wednesdays. So adding a PUP, I will select all the corridors and all the directions and search for all the PUPs that are available on the system. Now it takes a little bit of time. And how I will now find the fitting one is that on the origin, I will choose that in the filter, this origin contains Basel. And I will apply it. You don't have to do it, but I will just cancel this a little bit so I can instruct you of the times that would be fitting, because I forgot to highlight that one. So from Basel until Luino, from 17 o'clock until 10 o'clock. Something alongside of those times will be fitting for us. So again, let's find it. Searching all of the PUBs that are available here. Filtering the origin to Basel. And I will put here that I want to see 100 options that are available for me. So let's see now something that would be fitting for our business. We didn't filter the destination, so here I will also filter the destination. So from Basel to Luino. And let's see the times. Perhaps that one. From 18 o'clock until 22 o'clock. This is something that would fit our need. We wanted to start at 17, and we can even reuse this one, but on purpose I will do the 18 o'clock. So I will choose this PUP that is under the ID C01 NP SL U15 or 15. So this is what I will choose. It runs on the days 1 to 6, so I need it on Wednesday. It fits my needs. And I will add it to the dossier. Now we are back into the insert PUP wizard. So if I continue here, because yes, this is 1 hour later than I needed, but it's still fine. I will remove the ones that I no longer need in the second step of the wizard. And I would like to also tell you what is this construction point. Let's say that you have a business use case where you have to go into some kind of a port, let's say in Amsterdam, and there you need to be on the destination of your PUP stretch on a certain time. And by default, the origin of the whole stretch is the construction start. However, you can click on the construction point here. You see how the icon is selected, And this Luino and the last actually location of what you have selected becomes relevant for the IAM for the construction. It means that whatever the IAM offers you, you would like to ask him that the construction of the path that you are going to be offered starts from the last location. It means that this is the most important for you. It can be any location. It can be in the middle or the beginning or the last. And if you select one, the other will be deselected. So you can select whichever location is the most important for you in the whole construction of the path. I will continue with this one. And here again, we have, of course, the missing data, but doesn't matter. We are going to continue again. And of course, the Wednesdays is pre-selected for us because we are adding a PUP to an existing subpath with only Wednesdays as a running day. We are going to check the availability, and PCS didn't show us any warnings, and we know that this is a PUP that is published from 1 to 6, so no issue. And I will now save. And here is what I would like to highlight as a new thing that we developed is since we added a PUP to the second subpath, you can see that PCS now opened this second subpath by default. Previously, you had to do it manually to go now where you have added the PUP. Now PCS is showing you automatically what you have added last. In order to send the path requests, I need to resolve the red issues. So that is the missing mandatory common train parameters in timetable. And let's quickly resolve it, but how? Let's see if we can copy train parameters from the timetable, from the template. Since today we are working with the same user account, actually it will be easy because Anna showed you how to create the template, and you can now reuse mine that I have prepared for this session in order to make it a little bit quicker to actually use it. So in the second subpath, copy train parameter from the template, and here you have one that is under the name of Ivona SBB territory, and select both common train parameters and IAM parameters and apply this template to all of the subpaths. And now we should no longer have any issues. Yes, we now will accept our own part, but of course the colleagues from Germany still didn't do anything, and I will do that in the second screen. I just copy the dossier ID. So 256464. This is the dossier that we are working with. How you can do it on your own is also having the account Rade as your login somewhere else. Or log out and log in with this Rade account. I will search for this one, 256464, and open it. This is on my part already ready because we have done all of the issues in the harmonization, and then I can say to my colleagues, okay, I am ready. Now we are going to go back to DB Cargo Switzerland because that is the leading applicant. And this leading applicant needs to send the path request on behalf of everybody. So DBNets is done. DB Cargo Deutschland is done, and DB Cargo Switzerland is done. And then we can send a path request. There is no more blocking points in harmonization. I will go back to my incognito tab and to the current version of the dossier, where in control, I will be able now send the path request. And this is kind of the conclusion of your business. Anna showed you that in case there is alternative offer, you will get an email from your corridors saying that you need to accept the alternative offer. The alternative offer needs to be accepted by everybody in the dossier, so everybody also will get the notification. But I would like to show you the viewing rights. We are now in pre-booking and we are going to go into the path elaboration. And that's part of the business that doesn't have to do anything with the applicants. That is why applicant timetable is the only one that is visible for you. And you see no other timetable. However, I will now log in as the corridor 1 to show you what is the difference in what the corridor 1 sees. So C-OSS is the login for the corridor 1. So if I open this dossier 256464, I can see much more. I can see the applicant timetable. I can see the IM timetable, which is at this point not relevant, but it exists. And I can see my C-OSS timetable. And the path requests details, where I can see if there are any conflicts on those pubs. So it means that if there are multiple path variants that actually ordered the same pub, this will be an issue that this corridor needs to resolve. How that will be done is, first of all, of course, they can mark this as a completely tailor-made and offer you something else. And this is the part of work that is behind the alternative offer. And they do it here. Now it will be a little bit harder maybe for you to follow if you are doing that, but nevertheless, you are going to be able to see what I'm going to do. So in the C-OSS timetable, I'm actually going to create an alternative offer. For this second part.
Ivana, may I can
Yes.
mention that might be all of the subpaths had been tailor-made.
Exactly, yeah. So I cannot offer the alternative.
No.
Yeah, maybe one minor question, if I can.
Yes.
When C-OSS logged in PCS, does it have any notification that there is some issues he should resolve?
Yes, there was one, but now maybe we can go back. I will do this because it will save us a couple of minutes of work, and I will reject this dossier. So request needs to be redone. Let's say it like this. And we are going to go back to the harmonization actually. Now I will go back here and I will redo completely this part. Now let's update the dossier. To current version. I will quickly just redo the lights. And send the path request again. So once again, we will see if there are conflicts because there should be conflicts with other colleagues who also placed this request for us. So send the path request. And now let's go back to what the corridor sees to answer the question that we had. So back into this dossier, and in the PAP request details part, you can see that on the second one, the path variant has conflicts. And this is how you will know that there are some conflicts that you need to resolve and you need to offer an alternative for this one. And how you will do it, yes?
But that is when you actually search for that dossier. But when you logged in PCS as C-OSS, never mind.
Yes.
Is there any notifications that in all the dossiers is something that you should resolve?
So the filter My Unresolved will always show you everything that you need to react on. So you as a corridor, if you click on My Unresolved, it means that you did not finish your work. Currently, let's extend the traffic lights. This is something that we also had in the previous sessions. So whenever your light is not green, it means that you have to do something. So you will have the overview of everything that you need to do as a corridor like this. So if you enter one of these dossiers, in the control of this dossier, you can see that there are requests that have not been processed yet. And if you click on the pencil, the same kind of workflow works with this for the corridor OSS is that then you will have this PAP request details open and you need to see where there is something. First one does not have any issues. There are some path variants in conflicts, but you can see that on the first and the second, there are no PAPs that you need to resolve, but there is on the second because we have added this PAP only to the second part.
Okay,
so,
thank you.
This path variant has conflict and we need to resolve it. In order to offer something else to this customer, you would select that in this subpath 2, we need to search for an alternative. And now, again, we want to find something that is fitting, and that will be the alternative for this user. You as corridors, you will have this already prepared, of course, but I will cheat a little bit and do again the same way. So the customer requested 1818. We cannot offer that one, but maybe it will still be fitting to go a little bit later than what he has requested. So we are going to offer this one and preview this alternative offer. And this is for the applicants to see how the corridors resolve your issues. Of course, this big discrepancy is not something that will be offered to you. This is only to show the technical aspect of this whole procedure. And then we are going to reserve this alternative offer for this customer as the corridors. Now we have the possibility to offer this alternative offer that we reserved to the customers. And now this is this part that Anna also showed you, that now all the customers will get the information that there is some alternative offer, and that needs to be accepted. Again, being mindful about the time, I will not wait for you to follow along, but I will just show you now how this needs to be accepted by the involved applicants. First, I would like to show you, even though here this applicant doesn't have anything to accept, I would like to show you that he sees why he doesn't have anything to accept. There is no corridor in the first territory. He sees that in the C-OSS timetable, there is something else into the subpath 2. You can always compare what was part of your applicant timetable, how the request was originally placed at 18 o'clock, and what was the offer of the corridor for the alternative PUP at 22 o'clock. This is with the hit of the button of compare subpaths. And PCS will show you directly that in applicant timetable of the subpath number 2 and the subpath number 2 on the second part, there is a difference. So this comparison is what we said on the beginner session, is that you can kind of adjust the default comparison in your settings. So when you are going to be in the part of the whole this procedure that is going to be concerning applicant and C-OSS timetable before the PAT request was sent to the IAMS, then it might be useful for you to already pre-allocate the comparison between applicant and C-OSS timetable, so you don't have to manually every time do that. So we are comparing subpath 2 of the second territory and subpath 2 of the second territory, and PCS is highlighting to us what is different. What is different is, of course, the times, so from 18 to 21. What is also different is that there is another catalog path that is internal on the SBB territory. There is a difference in times on the second path section, second location. And since this is a +1, then this is also a difference in the calendar. It means that even though you have requested here only on Wednesdays, you can see here, if you click on it, that you have requested Wednesdays on the first subpath on your own request, but you were offered Thursdays. So you need to now decide which do you want it or do you not want it. So I will close this comparison, and let's say that in the control you are okay with this, even though you didn't get this part of the offer, you don't have to, you don't have any changes, you as an involved applicant still needs to put the light to green. And it is only the leading applicant who can completely accept or reject this offer. So I will again be the leading one with DB Cargo Switzerland. And again, in my unresolved, I have here this dossier that I would like to say, yes, I'm happy with waiting a little bit, and I will accept this alternative offer, still seeing the possibility to compare between applicant and C-OSS timetable. Okay, now once this is done, it is back into the hands of the corridors, who will now say, maybe I can just switch the tab. Really? Okay. So corridor 1. Again, corridor is not finished. So in my unresolved, you will still see this dossier, but now you as corridor can reserve this one because the applicant accepted it, and I will mark everything as reserved for this applicant. And with that, your light is on green and you can release the path elaboration as the corridor. And this is now the point where the IAMs start working. I would like to now again analyze who sees what. So I, as a corridor, can see what was the request, what was the offer that I have provided, and what are the IAMs doing in the construction of the draft offer. Corridors can see everything. Let's compare it to what the leading applicant now sees. This dossier is now in the path elaboration and the IAMs start working. What does the applicant see? In the control, we can see that, okay, IAMs didn't yet start working. RFC is waiting for the IAMs to conclude, and we are in path elaboration, but I see only the applicant timetable. So this is where I would like to highlight that now this is the part where the privacy of, I would say it like this, and the work of the IAM is not visible to you until you get the draft offer. Or if the draft offer is late, then you will see those IAM timetable territories who have put the light to green. So if, let's see it on the example, if the DBNet's offer is done and the DBNet's places the light to green, and we are already past the deadline of the draft offer, you will see this territory. But if the SBB infra is not yet done, then on the SBB part, you will not see the offer. And this is then the rights to for you to see how the process is going. However, this is the benefit for you as an applicant when you are working with PUPs and the corridors. Corridors are here to make sure that if anyhow possible, there will be no late offers for you, and your requests will be handled with some priority. So I hope that you will not get into this way of working and into this possibility to even need this option, because the corridors will try their best that you receive the draft timetable in time. Okay.
Ivona,
Yes.
may I ask you something about the alternative PUP offer? I'm not sure, but I think I will not get the notification about the promotion to alternative PAP offer phase. Oh,
Let's see here on the list. Okay, it's a little bit, I don't know why this happens from my browser, but there is one dossier alternative offered in the email notification. So if you didn't deselect it, then you should get it. In case you have it selected and you're not getting the information that the alternative dossier alternative was offered, then send us an email to support and we are going to check why is this not working. Is there any issue on your user account level or anything? Because we expect to send it.
okay, thank you.
Welcome.
And if you want to may add additional comments in the previous session I already showed, then the email is working and I opened the notification email.
Yes. So the content of the email can be seen on the recording in the previous intermediate section of the training. Okay, now we assigned the RU and I am going to go just briefly into explaining for the IAMs what they can do. So we are now in path elaboration and let's see what the IAMs can then do. I am going to log out and I will be SBP Infra to work on this dossier. Sorry, is this one? This one, in the path elaboration. So in the IAM timetable, working with the PAPs, I can do multiple things in the editing option. So first of all, what IAMs still cannot do is to offer more days of the PAP capacity than it was requested. So in case the IAMs want to add more days, running days, this will not be possible. And what can be done if is the options that actually Anna showed you also that are available to the applicants. And that is, first of all, clearing all PAP capacity. Clearing PAP capacity will allow you to keep all the locations, but in the tailor-made. It means that you will no longer be offered the capacity of the PAP, but the locations will stay in this place and you can kind of transfer them to the tailor-made offer. Let's see how that would look. This is it. So you see that the blue part of the PAP is gone. This is no longer part of the PAP, but locations remained. I will cancel this one just so I can show you what else can be done. So again, going into the editing, this will clear all the PAP capacity of all PAPs that are in this subpath. By chance, we have only one here, but if there are multiple, then each one will also have these 3 dots where you can then remove the PAP dossier or clear PAP capacity on this subpath completely. Clear PAP capacity is doing the same thing, just not on all, but on the one that you have selected. As I said, this example only has one PAP in this subpath, but regardless, you can have multiple. And removing the PAP dossier means that you will remove those locations completely. And let's see how it would look like. So there would be no more locations on this subpath. Of course, that's not really what you would like to do, but it might be helpful to start with this one in the construction of the subpath sometimes if there are multiple locations and multiple PAP IDs. So this is what the IAM can do. And of course, IM can copy this one with the PUP. Let's say that, yes, they want to offer you this capacity of this PUP on Wednesdays. Of course, it is fine for them. However, they would like to kind of offer you some alternative rerouting because of some TCRs. So we're not going to go through Sao Paulo, but through the Sud. So they need to remove that one and still offer you the capacity of the PUP, but during, let's say, June, there are some TCRs, so they need to offer you one alternative subpath. This change is modifying the reserved capacity. Do you want to continue? That is something that I would like to mention. So now those 4 days in June, from the 5th until the 12th, 19th, and 26th, are something that the corridor has reserved for you. However, if the IM decides to remove some capacity of the PUP, those 4 days will stay available for the late path request requesting after the new path request is done. So yes, I want to change the reserved capacity, so I will kind of remove those 4 days from the capacity of this PUP, and those 4 days will stay available for ordering for other applicants in the late path request. The difference that I would like to mention if there are IMs on this call is that this happens in the new path request. So those 4 days are then available in the late path request. However, if you do the same thing in the late path request or reserve the capacity in the ad hoc, this will be kind of wasted. So those 4 days cannot be reordered if you do that in the late path request and ad hoc. So that's important maybe to say that you should be careful about removing the capacity of the pub that is already reserved. So now we also saw that even though the request was with only 2 subpaths, there was a need to reroute for any reason of the TCRs or anything, and then the IM offered partially the capacity of the PUP with some changes in the middle, and again the capacity of the PUP in the end. Business use case, of course, for that depends on the real use cases that you would work on, but for this one, this is how we are going to technically allow the IMs to work. Let's see. There is missing activities. Sorry. Of course, we added something, so there will be just something that IAMS also needs to care about. So you can see that it's not only applicant business, and I will accept it as SBB infrastructure. Let's see what are DB nets. Can do. Again, my unresolved should have this one that I am working on. Chose the wrong one. Sorry about this one. Path elaboration, control, and I can say, okay, I'm good. And even though both IMs are now done, the applicant still didn't receive the offer because it is the responsibility of the corridor to check the first drafts of the IM. And then, if necessary, of course, speak with the IAMs to adjust anything that is needed. And then the corridor is again responsible for presenting this draft timetable to the applicants. So let's do that again. So the corridor OSS will now have the possibility to see, okay, both IAMs are done, lights are on green. If I accept it, then I can submit the draft offer. And at this point, the observation starts and the IAMs have the full transparency of the offer that they have gotten. And of course, after the observation, in the post-processing, some changes might be done. And then if there are no changes or if the changes are there, the final offer is sent and this final offer is either accepted or rejected by all the involved applicants. And that's kind of the life cycle of the dossier. I hope that this is now informative enough for you to see how the whole procedure goes. But there is one more thing. Actually, let's stop here for a couple of seconds and see if there are any questions that you might have now in the meantime. Julia?
Yes, I would like also to clarify about the possibility which C-OSS have when they see mistakes in the request. They have the possibility to correct it, and then I think it's a notification dossier ask for adaptation. Is it
Yes.
this kind of notification which our use will get in this case? Because we never had this kind of process.
Yeah, I didn't show this one, yeah. Sorry, I'm a corridor. So in the settings, let's see, because I also don't know by heart. Dossier ask for adaptation. So there is also one email notification here, but we can check maybe a test together in a bilateral way or something. How does this adaptation work? You can also actually do it on your own with the Corridor OSS account if you'd like to do it after this call to see actually in the online. It will be tricky to test, but nevertheless, if you would like to test this adaptation information, then we can maybe organize a standalone session, because now for this one we need to implement your email address into the test tree system, for example, which will take a little bit too much time to do it in this full group. But on the list, we do have it. We just need to see then. Do we
if I
send
may add
out
an additional comment, the dossier
Yes.
for adaptation is for the path modification process.
Okay.
Then it might be the reason also why you don't receive the email notification, but we should then see also if the setup of PCS is to send out those or not.
It was not the missing notification. We just never had this situation for correction. So therefore, I'm not sure which type of process it would be and how we will be involved outside of email and telephone. So.
I don't know if we have corridors on call who can maybe explain this part, because how I have done it now in this demo also is that the corridor withdrew the dossier, and this dossier ended up into the harmonization again. And in harmonization, you need to kind of either adapt or put the lights again. So the request can be placed again. Of course, this means that we should be careful when this is done, because if it is done closer to the PAT request deadline, and then the second request is placed after the PAT request deadline has passed, that means that we are already in the late PAT request. So that needs to be really, everybody needs to be aware of that one. So I don't know if there is a certain procedure that corridors are doing. So Jean, maybe you would like to.
Yes, thank you, Julia, for raising this question. It's a very interesting one. Actually, I do not think this function is used because, as Ivona said, if you change the dossier after April the 11th, then it becomes automatically a late pass request. You lose a priority, and it's not possible anymore to book the PAP. What I'm doing with some customer is that if we have enough time, we check some of their dossier before April the 11th, and sometimes it helps to find some mistake. But after April the 11th, unfortunately, I'm afraid there is not much to do in case of a mistake.
Okay, then I saw the information in the chat also. So if you would like to do a small testing of this procedure or anything, we can organize and we can allocate some time for that one as a standalone.
Yeah, it's a good idea to test it because I do not really know it.
Okay.
So very interested.
Then you can rely that RNE is going to organize, and we can invite also a wider audience to listen if you are interested, no problem. But then we are going to coordinate that with the C-OSS community. Julia?
Yes, it would be okay for me to have the separate session. I remember since years we have this procedure, but never used. Yeah, perhaps it's now time to find out
yes.
how it works. Yes, and I have a separate issue. I would like to refresh my information about the downgrading of acceptance. Indication. Is there any information in CMS or any there in the written form? It's not needed to explain it yet because we have not enough time, perhaps, or other participants have questions, but yeah, only to see where to find. Thank you.
Thank you for this one. First, I will give the response, and I will then give the words to Anna. It reminds me that I will now place on the chat also the link for the more information about this appointing the responsible RU, and then we are going to find this document about the downgrading information and share with you. If no other way, then in the email that you will get from the C-OSS community now at the conclusion of this online training. Anna?
Thank you. I just was thinking of the Julia's request about what if the POP request raised and submitted wrongly. I don't think we do have something built in then in PCS develop, because if you think of the pre-booking is the POP is already filled, either then the other solution could be then if it's possible the corridors can offer another POP and they can construct it and correct it the way it should be, but otherwise then we don't have any solutions, but it will be interesting topic to check.
Okay, we are at closure of the time. There is one more topic that I would like to show you, and that is this discrepancy of the 12-hour issues. And for that one, it will be just a quick demo. So I thank you everybody who needs to leave on time, how we have scheduled this one. And I am going to continue just with showing you this. There is not much to do with me. I think seeing is going to be enough for you to learn how this works. So I'm just going to open this dossier that I have prepared for this last input. Let's analyze it. So the leading applicant is DB Cargo Deutschland, and we are logged in with the same applicant. So in the applicant timetable, let's see what we have here. So first of all, this is issue with offset. It means that PCS is just a simple algorithm behind the code. So it's an application that has some kind of restrictions. And for PCS, all the algorithms are based on the 12 hours issue. Meaning that when there is a gap above 12 hours, PCS, the algorithm doesn't really work properly, let's say it like this. So here is an example that on the first path section, on the origin, we start at 7 o'clock, and we are at the border station at 8 o'clock. And then we wait here until the next day at 10 o'clock. That is a 14-hour difference, and PCS doesn't recognize that this is on the next day. Let's see. So request is from 1 to 3 and correctly constructed from 2 to 4 because it's the next day. However, the difference is here on the last path section of the first territory, on the first path section of the second one, there is 14 hours difference, and PCS cannot connect it. Usually it's clear because we just need to continue from here until here, but PCS does not recognize it. How to resolve this is that you will, on the first territory, and that's really important to do it on the previous territory, you need to put here this departure time already up. So you will say that in Basel, you arrive at 2020, but depart at 10 o'clock. Some of the more advanced users will say, okay, but DBNets will never construct this departure time, and that is correct, and actually they will just disregard it, but PCS will no longer have an issue. So now you can see that in the path variance, PCS was able to connect from the origin until the destination because we have said, okay, this 10 o'clock, the parking is on this location. So this is how to resolve it without with the offset because we crossed the midnight crossing. But what if you need to say, okay, but I want to also not run on the second day, but wait for 2 days. So I want this. I want to start on Monday, but on the second territory, I want to leave on Wednesday. I have now created this in the calendar, but of course there are some extra running days because the PCS doesn't know what you wanted to now do. And how to resolve this one is that you will here add one more manual offset. So you will say, okay, this is Monday at 20 o'clock, but this is not Tuesday, it is Wednesday. So manually we increased 1 plus 1. So if I save it now, again, PCS will be happy. I apologize. PCS will be happy because now it is clear that this is in total 2 days after. Out of this total 2, one is a midnight crossing that is automatic, and one is a manual one that the user has selected that there is 1 more day for waiting. Of course, from the business point of view, it's not going to ever happen in Basel, but there are some border sections, for example, between France and Spain, where those use cases do happen. This was with the offset, so something that we are crossing the midnight. But I would also like to show you this same issue when we are within the same day. Sorry about that. So no offset. Let's analyze it. So we start at 6 minutes before 5. We are at the border station at 6, and we want to continue late evening at 8. So even though this is still the same day, so we requested 1 to 3 and 1 to 3, PCS still cannot connect it because there is more than 12 hours difference between 2 territories. And again, the solution is the same. We need to put in the upper part this parking. So until 20 o'clock, we are going to move further away. If I do that, no more inconsistency. I would just like to show you that it doesn't work if you do it on the second territory. So if I put here that I want to arrive at 6 o'clock in the second territory, it will not work because PCS is calculating from top to down, and you can still see that there will be a warning on the actually when we release the harmonization, there will be a warning on the second territory. Maybe we can do it and log in. So you can see here that the inconsistency is a blocking point, and you would not be able to put the light to green. So we need to correct it. But not on this territory. And here it is the information about the that I have told you at the beginning also with one example that even though PCS is telling the second territory that something needs to be corrected, it is actually the first applicant who needs to do something. So we saw that now the rule is to edit the times on the first territory. So the first applicant will need to correct it. Let's do it. So here I put the parking at the first territory and issue is gone. We can all place the green light. And now the leading applicant can place the path request again. That would be it. I hope that this advanced session gave you more insights of how to resolve some of the issues, also the hints of where you can go and check and how PCS can show you what's the differences with going into the path variance part, because here is where PCS is calculating on its own, so you can maybe use it as a helpful tool to recognize which calendar days are not really covered in some of the territories. Of course, we used really easy examples on this trainings, but we would not like to overwhelm you with some really complex issues. Unfortunately, I know that there are some issues that really take a lot of time to resolve, and I also know that we promised that we would kind of give you some cheat sheet, how it is called, and the guidelines of resolving the complex inconsistencies, because without a consistent request, you cannot place a path request. So if we do manage to find some capacity to create such instructions for this year, we are going to gladly share it with all of you. But in the meantime, whenever there is a question and you need our assistance, we are glad to offer it to you and try to resolve your inconsistencies for you. Maybe also instruction and advice to start with your path requests a little bit sooner than the last days. Nevertheless, we are there for you even on the last days, but it will be much more easier for everybody to have much more time to resolve any issues that might come up with this whole interface of PCS. Okay, any questions that we might still answer?
No questions, just to ask that after participating in few of these trainings, now things are becoming clearer. So thank you for your training sessions.
Glad to hear that, Dina. We are actually also want to also emphasize that we are offering all the help in English that you might approach us. The corridor OSS managers are also here for any information that you might need, and from them you can have the informations on your native languages if they speak it, so don't hesitate to contact us, and I hope that then PCS will not be such a scary tool to use, but it will give you really what the basis of the PCS is, and that is to give you an overview of this international business at your hands.
Thank you very much, and cook yourself milk and sugar, you know what I mean.
Yes, I need it for my throat. Okay, then I wish you all the good evening. Those who are in love, I wish you a lovely Valentine's Days, and talk to you soon, and hopefully you will have a good experience with the timetable period 2024 in PCS. Bye bye.
I'm in love with PCS.
Great.
Bye bye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye
Bye
bye.
bye.
Ciao.
Thank
Have a nice
you. Bye
afternoon.
bye.
Bye. Bye. Bye.